take you into the apps first, I want to show you the things that I look for. And it's really just one thing. And if you can get this, if you can figure out how to use your calculator or do your math right on this, you're good to go. Honestly speaking, I think that once you know this, I would just like go on. So for the both teams, the teams that are playing, in this instance, we're going to use the Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are the two teams we're going to use. Okay, you want that, and this here is important. Let me actually highlight it in bold so that you can get it. And I'm going to share it after this. This is it. Okay, both teams' basketball average points scored, not conceded, scored. They have to be 5 points above the lowest over option that the betting company is offering you. Okay? Or 5 points below the lowest under option that the betting company is offering. Okay? Now, generally this works better for overs. Unders, to an extent, but you do need a little bit more work. So I prefer this for overs. But it works either way. 5 points, okay? So if you calculate on average in their last 6 games, and you see a check mark there, the last 6 games is what I use. It gives you more of an evened out perspective on how the team has been performing. Odd numbers kind of can be peculiar. You can have a high scoring game and then just go low scoring. 6 is even, so it kind of gives you an even idea of what's going on. So I use the last 6 games head to head and their own recent home and away games. Okay, you want those 6 games, the average that you get from calculating the totals of those games, you want it to be 5 points above the lowest odd that the betting company is offering you. Okay, so I've already done the head-to-head here, and the average that I found was that between these two teams, it was 221.2 head-to-head, the average overs. Okay, then the average overs for their own games. Okay, this is, maybe let me just correct this, home and away. Okay, this is for both teams, is 214.5. So both teams, how many they've scored home and away in the last 6 combined is 214.5. Okay, when I take these two numbers and I add them, okay, 221.2 and 214.5, okay, and I divide them by 2, it gives me an average of 217.85, okay, and that is the average combined for head-to-head and home and away. So this is the number I'm going to use, 217.85, okay? That's how many points they've both scored, home and away, okay? It gives me kind of a general picture. So now that I have this number, 217 or 218 if you want to round it off, I'm going to go to the betting site, and I'm hoping that this time it allows me to record, because some weird reason it stops recording somewhere in... Okay, so we're here. Not going to complain. I'm happy to be here. Okay, so I go to the search bar, and this is where you find these markets. You don't find them in the popular tab. And if you go to all, you're going to be scrolling and scrolling, okay? Don't go to the popular tab. Use the little search icon and look for total, okay? Now, this has to be stressed. There's 2 totals, 2 overs. There's overs and unders, and then there's total. We're looking for the total, not the overs and unders. The overs and unders with the cash out option, that's for a regular time scores. In basketball, there's 2 things that happen. There's 2 ways a game ends. It either ends in regular time or it ends in overtime. Overtime is if the 2 teams can't cancel each other out, they go into overtime and they try and find a winner. We want to take the option with overtime because we don't want to miss out on points, because the average that we found includes both overtime and regular time. So we're not going to go for the overs and unders that has a cash out option, because that one is only for the regular time. We want the total with overtime. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So here, how are you going to tell what the lowest option is? Okay, 1.47 is definitely the lowest option, because as I open these other tabs, you can see for the overs, there's no number below 1.47. Okay, so 220.5, keep that number in mind. Then I'm going to look for the lowest unders option. Okay, as you can see me, I'm opening the tabs. So the lowest unders option is 234.5. Okay, great. So now I'm going to go back to the app here, and you can already see that I populated these numbers. Okay, so the lowest total overs that Betway has right now is 220.5, and the lowest total unders is 234.5. Our average combined is 217. Which one of these numbers is 5 points above or below? Not really rocket science. 234 minus 217, that shows you that it's more than 5 points below the lowest unders option. So I would take the unders option here and play it. Now, is that the only thing you need to look for? No. But if you just got this one thing, that's 5 points below or under, you're good. You don't even need anything else. Honestly, 3 out of 5 times this will work. I'm not going to give you a 5 out of 5 times strategy because I don't think it exists. But 3 out of 5 times is great. And I've seen this work 3 out of 5 times. The other 2 times, you need a little bit more information and context to be able to, figure out, apologies for that, figure out, what else to look for. And I will do another video covering that, once I can get a good video recorded. I'm just trying to get this one done and get it to you guys because I promised at 12. So in this scenario, the ideal overs would have been 208.5 or 209.5 because the average is 217. So if I use the 5 strategy, 217.85 minus 5 is 212. So yeah, technically it would be 212, okay, or 214. That would be great, okay? If that option was there on Betway or the betting company, I would take it. I could take a higher option, yes, but there's a lot of other factors. Once you start going for higher overs and unders, there's other factors that you have to take into account. And I don't want you guys to complicate it too much. Betting should be as simple as possible. It's not difficult. There is work involved, but let's make the work as simple as possible, okay? And the ideal unders here would be 234.5, which is already there, okay? So in this case, if I was to bet on this game, I would go with the total unders. And that's my one game, 1.44, and then I add another game like that. 3 out of 5 times it's going to work. If you want to kind of have an edge over and get more context, there is another way to do it, and I will cover it just in a video right after this. So this is, at its core, the most basic way to use this. This is a strategy. This is the basketball strategy. This is what I do all the time, guys. I don't do anything else. I do this, okay? And if it doesn't go my way, if the stats were right, I just say, you know what, it's one of those times when it didn't work. And sometimes, it happens, like I've had it where it happens like 3 games in a row it happens. And it's like, okay, maybe it's the games I'm picking. And this is where now context comes in, where you need to look at, what else am I missing, in my pick. But this in and of itself is, in a nutshell, the easiest way to bet on basketball. And, to just end it, what apps am I using? I'm using Betswall. Betswall does have basketball tips. I don't use them entirely, but I do know that they do tend to share them around 11 p.m. if there's a game overnight. And it's okay. I mean, they do go through. These guys do have a certain level of accuracy. If you're lazy, this would be the best option. But I use 7M live scores to get my analysis. And just going to quickly walk you through this. Hopefully, like I said, it's still showing red. We're still good. So with 7M live scores, there's a bunch of options here. What we're looking for is the game that we want to pick. So we would go to the City Thunder and Houston Rockets, and we just look at the analysis tab. That's all we're looking at. This is where I got my numbers earlier on, the 221.2 and the 214. And I'll show you how I've gotten those numbers, okay? So first thing it pops up is a head-to-head record. This shows how many times head-to-head they've played, how many points have been scored. So what I would do is take the last 6 games here, add their totals. So 114 plus 117, 107 plus 119, add those all together, 6 games, okay? That would go up to, that's up to the 21st of January. So once I get that, then I get the average. By average, I would divide. So if I would add the totals for these games and then divide it by 6, that's how I get the average, in case you don't know. Okay. Then now I come to standing. Standing shows me in their last 6 home and away games what the average has been, how many points they've scored. I'm not looking at how many they've lost by, I'm looking at how many they've scored. Okay. This is just for overs and unders. Okay, guys, let's not like this is what we're using for overs and unders. For handicap, it's a slightly different twist to this, and I'll share it in another video once I get a chance. So 106.3 is the average in the last 6. Can you see where it says FT? Then it says TP home away last 6. Then there's a tab here where it says FT if you're going to the right, FT being the furthest to the left, games, win, loss, scored. Okay, so last 6, 106.3. Okay, that's City Thunder. And for Houston Rockets, last 6 is 108.2. So 106.3 and 108.2. Okay, that's how I get that average. So that's how you saw the averages that I got here. The average head-to-head was 221.2. I added all the total points for both teams in their last 6 games and then divided it by 6. Then the average head-to-head, overs, I didn't divide, I just added, because this app has already done the averages for me. Okay, it's already done the averages for me. The average, it's calculated, the average is 106.3. So I'm just adding the two together to get a context of, what the average has been. And then I add those two numbers, 214.5 and 221.2, and then divide them by 2. That gives me the average combined. Gives me a general idea between games they've played and, their recent form, where they're at. And then I use that if the lowest total overs that the betting company is offering me is 5 points, 5 points above what I have calculated as the average, then I go for overs. If it's 5 points below the lowest under option, then I go for unders, and so on and so forth. So this is it, guys. Nothing complicated. It's really easy. Once you get the hang of it, you'll find that you're not, taking so long. So I hope that this has been helpful. I really hope that this video is recorded, because really frustrating that I've done this 5 times today. But if it's out and you guys get it, I'm happy, excited. Let's make that money, guys. Talk to you guys in the next video. All right, cheers, guys.